the stock market is big trash today because it's going down. And that's because everyone's worried about inflation. And they should be, because inflation, is it really coming down or is it getting worse? We don't know. But what we do know is this: inflation never stops. It never stops. It robs people of their buying power. It's a silent tax that will just eat away at your wealth over time. And that is why so many people love Bitcoin, why so many people have turned to Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is the best hedge against inflation. There's no doubt about it. In the last 5 years, the last 2 years, even last 10 years, nothing has outperformed Bitcoin, which means it's the ultimate hedge against inflation because there's only a set supply and can't be artificially inflated like fiat. And its inflation rate gets cut every 4 years. That's why we have the halving event, which is coming up in about a month, right? So all this worry about inflation, well, if you're a Bitcoin holder, you don't care about inflation. You embrace inflation because inflation is going to cause Bitcoin to rise up to over $1 million someday. Not this cycle, but someday it will be due to inflation, right? See, this is what inflation does to your dollar, to your euro, to your sterling, to your pound, okay? It decreases over time. It's almost to a point where it's at zero, okay? It should never hit zero unless the US dollar collapses, but that's how it is. Over time, your buying power just diminishes and diminishes and diminishes. But Bitcoin's price keeps on going up and your buying power keeps increasing. Nothing is a better hedge against inflation than Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin is so hot, why Bitcoin was actually created in the first place. And today we got this news that probably drove things a little bit higher, makes things a little bit more exciting. Okay, UK now says, okay, let's do it. The US has allowed ETFs to happen. Let's allow it too. So the UK just said okay to ETFs, ETPs, ETNs, whatever, all these exchange traded products that will be coming. So we're going to see this. We're going to see every market around the world start FOMOing in on Bitcoin exchange traded products. Okay, which of course means a lot more money will be flowing in. That's what it means. Okay, I've been talking about ETFs for quite some time, and even when it started and you saw the numbers, there were a lot of people that didn't really understand, didn't think that it would have, or they wouldn't have effect on Bitcoin. Well, they do, because you have institutions that are buying up hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin every day. And this is going to start happening around the world, leading to a supply shock. There isn't enough. Demand is rising, and that's not going to stop. We're nowhere close to the top. Nowhere close. We have just started. Oh, by the way, looking at MicroStrategy, huge. Plus 9%, another 52-week high. And Coinbase, up 4%, not as much, but still 52-week high. So whatever you're holding on to, if it relates to Bitcoin, it's doing well, and it's at an all-time high, basically. Coinbase not quite there yet, but it will soon be. And, like I said, everyone is FOMOing in, okay? This is very telling from Bitwise. You have, of course, individual retail investors that are FOMOing in, paying a lot more attention. People are asking, hey, what do you think about Bitcoin? Where is it going to go? You hear that all the time. You got registered investment advisors, okay? You got family offices. You have hedge funds, venture capitalist funds, asset managers, all FOMOing in. And let's not forget the large corporations and consultant and warehouse. Basically, guys, everyone wants a piece. Everyone wants a piece, and there's just not enough to go around. Okay, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and we're not there yet. We're like 19.7 or something like that. And there's a lot more millionaires out there on the planet than 20 million. So even if every millionaire on the planet wanted to accumulate one Bitcoin right now, They couldn't. They couldn't. They would drive the prices up so high because there's not enough to go around. Especially since the ETFs, they are buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. Week 9, take a look. 33,000 Bitcoins bought. Okay, this is discounting Grayscale selling. Grayscale sold massively last week. Okay, they sold like $300, $400, $500 million of Bitcoin every single day. But the other ETFs said, okay, thank you. I'll eat it up. And we still had a net positive inflow of 33,600 going to just the US ETFs, by the way. There are ETFs that exist outside the US. They're probably growing by leaps and bounds too. So it's not just US, but the US is leading the way. And that is why we are going up so much. And in case you're wondering, how does that compare to how much Bitcoin gets mined per day or per week? There's a big, big difference, right? Again, unlike fiat, unlike anything else out there where you could just create more out of thin air, you can't do that with Bitcoin. It's set by code, secured by the miners. And there's no entity that can come in and say, well, let's just inflate Bitcoin because we can, right? It doesn't happen. And by the way, as good as MicroStrategy has been, and they have accumulated a lot of Bitcoin over the years, and they will be accumulating more Bitcoin because Michael Saylor just sold $800 million of convertible notes. Guess what he's going to do with that? That's another $800 million Bitcoin buy that's coming. But like I told you guys, BlackRock is buying at a unfathomable rate, I guess. Okay, they have surpassed the overall holdings of MicroStrategy already within 2 months. 2 months. 196,000 Bitcoins versus 193. I told you guys. Don't let all the big boys take up all your Bitcoin. Every time we have some volatility, we could see the sells. Where are the sells coming from? Retail investors that are scared. While these big boys continue to keep buying up, they're not going to stop. Fidelity is sitting high up there too, 125,000 Bitcoin at number 3. And ARK and Bitwise, they have only been accumulating for 2 months versus someone like MicroStrategy 4 years. Big difference in terms of how fast they're accumulating, and that's not going to stop. But you know what? Michael Saylor's like, you know what? I'm not going to lose this race. I'm going to keep on going, and he's going to keep on raising. And MicroStrategy stock is on fire, like I said. Just keeps going up and up and up and up, and it's already worth $26 billion. The way this is going, MicroStrategy is going to be worth hundreds of billions soon. So obviously, this is working.